In this lesson, we are going to learn how to deliver a killer blow on h7 square. First, let's look at a simple position. In such positions, white plays bishop cross h7 check. White typically sacrifices a bishop or any other piece on h7 and forces the opponent's king to capture it. Once the opponent king has captured it, this king has become vulnerable. Then you bring your queen into the attack. You play a move like queen h5 check. Queen comes near to the opponent's king and tries to attack it. And after king g8, typically you will need a backup sacrifice or a backup piece attack. You will bring your rooks and bishop and then try to attack the opponent's king. Let's see it in a practical situation. In this position, we are white. Both of our bishops are pointing toward the opponent's king. And opponent's queen is away from the king. So that's a big hint that your attack on the king's side is going to work. Right now, the king is sitting safely behind this pawn cover. And if you want to find the killer blow, then ask yourself this question. How do I remove the pawn cover of the opponent's king so that it becomes vulnerable to attack? Here, white played bishop cross h7. White sacrifices his bishop on h7 and forces the black king to capture it. If the black king does not capture it, then we are going to attack in the same way. We are going to bring our queen and start attacking in the same way. Black plays king cross h7 and now we bring our queen into the attack with a check. Queen h5 check, king g8. And now you see the king is still little bit safe behind this pawn and we need to bring our backup pieces into the attack. We remove the g7 pawn cover of the opponent's king using another sacrifice. We play rook cross g7 check. One more sacrifice to completely destroy the pawn cover of the opponent's king. After king cross g7, now you can play rook to g1 check and it's a checkmate. You made two sacrifices to remove two pawns and then using rest of your pieces checkmated the king. Now let's look at a more complicated situation. In this position, we are black. Our bishops are pointing toward the opponent's king. And we need to open the center a little bit more so that our bishops becomes more effective. So black plays knight cross d2. White played knight cross g2 and now black played pawn d4. Black is sacrificing a pawn so that his light square bishop becomes open. White plays e cross d4, white captures the pawn and now we don't even have to recapture. Here black played bishop cross h2 check and white has to capture it. Otherwise black will play queen h4 and continue the attack without even sacrificing a piece. So white has to capture the bishop and now as usual we bring our queen into the attack with a check. We play queen h4 check. White goes back. You see this king is still safe behind these pawns. Now we need to remove this pawn cover also. So we sacrifice another piece. Black plays bishop cross g2. One more piece sacrifice to completely remove the pawn cover of the opponent's king. If white accepts our sacrifice, then black plays queen g4 check. White plays a move like king h2 and you see right now we have only the queen in the attack. But queen alone is not enough to win the game. If you want to checkmate your opponent, then you need at least one more piece in the game. And how do we bring one more piece in the game? Black plays rook d5. Rook left. Rook comes into the attack. Black's idea is that rook will go to h5 and there is no way to protect from this rook h5 checkmating move. And white will lose the game. White is two pieces up, but these two pieces are useless because opponent's king does not have any pawn cover and is vulnerable to attack. White cannot prevent the checkmate in this position. That's why after bishop cross g2, white decided not to capture our bishop and that's a good decision. White played pawn to f3. White is creating an escaping route for his king and white wants to play knight e4 so that his queen can come to the defense of the white's king. Now black has managed to remove the pawn cover of the opponent's king, but the question is, how do we continue the attack? And the answer is usually the same. Bring more pieces into the attack. Black plays rook f8. Black is bringing more pieces into the attack. Look, if black wanted, black could have captured the rook. Okay, but that's not what we want. We want to attack the opponent's king and checkmate it. And for that, we need pieces. That's why instead of capturing the rook, black played rook f8. If white captures our bishop now, then black will play rook e2 check. After king g1, queen h2, it's a checkmate. That's why in this position, white played knight e4. White wants to block our rook and white wants to bring his queen into the defense. And here black played queen h1 check. King runs away from the f2 square and now black plays bishop cross f1. White cannot even capture the bishop because then black will play queen h2 check and we are going to win the opponent's queen. In this position, white played pawn to d5. White is planning to counter attack on the black's king. White's plan is to play queen c3 and checkmate on the g7 square. If black wants to continue the attack, then black needs to find a way to open the file for the rook. So black plays pawn to f5. Black wants to remove this knight from e4 so that his rook can participate into the attack. If white plays a move like knight f6 check, after king f7, if white captures our rook, then this attack is deadly. Black is going to play queen g2 and it's going to be a checkmate for the white's king. That's why here white played queen c3. White wants to play queen g7 checkmate. We don't have to defend from this threat. Black plays queen g2 check. White has only one option, king e3. If white plays king e1, then it will be a queen e2 checkmate. So now the question is, how do we continue the attack? This knight is protecting the white's king. This time, instead of a pawn, a piece is protecting the king. Knight has become the cover of the white's king. And what do we do with the cover of the opponent's king? We destroy it. We sacrifice our piece and destroy it. That's why black played rook cross e4, sacrificing the rook for the knight. White played f cross e4, queen g3 check, king d2. Black played queen f2 check, white played king d1. All of these moves are forced. And now black played queen e2 checkmate. This is the typical way of delivering a killer blow on h7 and then continuing the attack. Now let's go to the next lesson.